Daniel, a skilled human engineer, and Zara, an alien with emerald skin, survive a spaceship crash on an uncharted planet. Struggling through alien jungles and fending off intergalactic pirates, their bond is tested to its limits. Will their unity hold strong amidst chaos and danger? Dive into a tale where survival clashes with loyalty and ethics are put to the ultimate test. If you want to dive into real stories of parallel realities every day, in enigmatic, technological worlds that are completely different from our planet, subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Well, let's go. The Tremor 7, an aging but once mighty vessel, navigated the cold, unforgiving expanse of space with wavering stability. Its hull bore countless scars from relentless encounters with micrometeoroids, hostile skirmishes, and the rigors of deep space travel. Until this moment, it had loyally served its crew, but there was an air of impending failure. Within its labyrinthine corridors and vast control rooms, Daniel, the ship's chief engineer, fought a never-ending battle against entropy. Daniel was a man of medium build, characterized by a weathered face that bore both the wisdom and wear of countless space missions. His hands were calloused, a testament to years of manipulating complex machinery. Personality-wise, Daniel was as steadfast as the ship he served, resourceful in crises, and unyieldingly optimistic. Alongside him was Zara, an enigmatic alien from Eridan. Zara stood taller than Daniel, with her emerald skin shimmering under the dim lights of the spacecraft. Her eyes, an ethereal blue, seemed to reflect galaxies within their depths. She was stoic yet curious, captivated by the wonders of the universe that she methodically catalogued in her mind. Her role aboard the vessel was multifaceted, from being a cultural liaison to applying her sophisticated technological prowess. Zara was indispensable. Her and Daniel's bond was forged through countless obstacles, defined by an amalgamation of mutual respect and shared resilience. Routine turned chaotic in an instant. The ship's sensors, already strained from maintaining course, erupted into frenzied alerts. A cascade of red and orange lights bathed the control room as alarms wailed, signaling catastrophic systems failures. A critical malfunction had gripped the core of the ship, sending it spiraling towards an uncharted planet. The exterior view transformed, revealing a foreboding globe cloaked in verdant jungles. Tremor 7, gripped by the planet's gravitational pull, descended rapidly. Bracing themselves, the crew prepared for the inevitable. The subsequent crash tore through layers of dense canopies and came to a grinding halt against the unyielding terrain. Emerging from the wreckage, Daniel and Zara took stock of their surroundings and each other. Daniel, with his ever-present survival kit slung over his shoulder, dusted off fragments of debris. His heart raced as he quickly surveyed Zara for injuries. Despite the jarring impact, Zara appeared relatively unharmed, her green complexion unmarred. Her expression, a mix of pain and resolve, told Daniel all he needed to know. They had no time to waste. The alien jungle sprawled around them, teeming with a tapestry of unknown flora that towered and twisted into the sky. Trees with bioluminescent leaves cast an eerie glow, illuminating the night. Vines, thick as a man's torso, draped over their wrecked vessel like serpentine guardians. The air thrummed with the sounds of an unseen and possibly hostile ecosystem. Survival instincts kicked in immediately. Daniel and Zara worked efficiently to establish a makeshift camp, using remnants of the ship and salvaged supplies. Fires crackled, casting dancing shadows as they focused on immediate necessities. Securing water from alien flora, understanding local fauna through cautious observation, and protecting their camp from nocturnal predators whose eyes glowed from the darkness. Days bled into nights as the planet's dual moons rose and fell in the sky. Daniel, charged with repairing the ship's communication systems, worked diligently, despite the unending array of technical challenges. The atmospheric interference of the planet played havoc with the ship's signal transponders. He struggled over circuitry and relayed wires, often resorting to jury-rigging parts with nothing more than sheer ingenuity and alien plant fibers. Zara, driven by her own expertise, sought out natural remedies to synthesize life-sustaining resources. Her knowledge of alien botany became indispensable. She identified plants with medicinal properties and those that could stabilize the volatile entropy of their surroundings. Her capacity to communicate with Daniel in an ever-growing understanding of each other's languages and gestures imbued their efforts with a fluid synergy. The duo's existence became a delicate dance of survival. One fateful night, while Zara scoured the perimeter for usable materials, she detected a glimmer of light on the horizon. Pirates. These marauders of the cosmos appeared like specters, illuminated by their fires and crude machinery. Their intentions were all too clear: exploitation. Upon discovery, Daniel and Zara found themselves vastly outnumbered and outgunned. Rather than engage in brazen confrontation, they adopted guerrilla tactics. Daniel planted traps using remnants of the ship and natural elements from their surroundings. Zara leveraged her understanding of the alien fauna, creating deterrents to keep the pirates at bay. Their endeavors yielded limited respite, for the pirates were relentless. The dense jungle transformed into a battleground. Daniel and Zara's resourcefulness shone in their desperate situation. Camouflaging themselves against the luminescent flora, they launched calculated strikes. Every breath taken seemed to bring another wave of tension, veins throbbing with adrenaline. In the midst of one skirmish, Zara was grievously injured, a laceration running deep across her arm. The sight of her emerald blood sparked a primal protective instinct within Daniel. He shielded her, using every ounce of knowledge and ingenuity he possessed. The days of conflict melded into one relentless haze, a grueling test of endurance and wit. Despite their efforts, exhaustion took its toll. Just as despair loomed, a faint signal from their patchy distress beacons was finally intercepted. Responses echoed through the static-laden channels. It was the Eridonians, swift and decisive, descending with their formidable might. Zara, summoning all remaining strength, adjusted their beacon to emit a clear, steady signal. A squadron of Eridan soldiers, clad in armor that blended seamlessly with the environment, flooded the clearing. With precise coordination, they attacked the pirates, engaging in close-quarters combat that left no margin for error. Visors glowed a brilliant blue as energy shields flared, deflecting strikes aimed with deadly accuracy. Their intervention was the much-needed turning tide. Fighting alongside their allies, Daniel and Zara wielded their ingenuity and grit. Each encounter pulsed with the rhythm of battle, the silence of death a heartbeat away. Finally, the skirmish reached its zenith. Through blinding bursts of energy and shouts punctuating the air, the marauders were decimated. The jungle fell silent once more. With the adversaries vanquished, the aftermath left Daniel and Zara battered, yet imbued with a renewed sense of purpose. Their alliance with the Eridan soldiers had showcased their unwavering resolve and resourcefulness. They were escorted back to Eridan, their battered forms reflecting their arduous journey. The journey to Eridan was a glimpse into an advanced world, where technology harmonized with ancient traditions. Eridonian architecture soared with crystalline spires that seemed to touch the stars, bathed in the hues of setting suns. Daniel and Zara awoke under the dual moons of the unnamed planet in a state of exhaustion but with a resolute drive to survive. The crash site, now their temporary home, bore the wretched scars of both human and alien technology entwined in a disastrous embrace. The trees loomed like ancient sentinels, their canopies intertwining to create a disorienting mesh of darkness, interrupted only by the ethereal glow of bioluminescent flora. The air was thick with the scent of strange, alien vegetation and the distant calls of unseen creatures. For Daniel, the first order of business was to assess the damage and salvage what he could from the wreckage of the Tremor 7. He was forced to rely on his extensive engineering knowledge, methodically cataloging what tools and resources they had left. Zara, with her intimate understanding of both Eridan and the natural world, began to explore their immediate vicinity. Her emerald skin seemed to meld with the verdant backdrop as she moved gracefully, identifying both threats and potential assets in their alien environment. Their collaboration was precise and efficient. Zara's alien perception and knowledge of medicinal flora proved invaluable as she identified plants that could be used for food, medicine, and even rudimentary construction materials. Daniel, on the other hand, was a master at improvisation. With pieces of the ship's wreckage, he began crafting essential items: a rudimentary water filtration system from a fusion drive cooling unit, a shelter reinforced with plasteel fragments, and tools fashioned from alloy shards. However, the jungle was far from forgiving. The dense foliage teemed with life, much of it hostile. Enormous reptiles with scales that shimmered like polished stone lay in ambush, while venomous insects the size of a human hand clung to the underbrush, their translucent wings barely visible in the dim light. Each day was a new trial, survival turning into a repetitive cycle of confronting fresh threats and overcoming unforeseen obstacles. As the days stretched into weeks, a harsh reality set in. They needed to repair the ship's communication system to call for help. The jungle, though hostile, was not entirely barren of resources. Zara's keen senses allowed her to locate a clearing with peculiar energy readings. Upon their arrival, they discovered a cave that seemed to exude an otherworldly resonance. Its walls were covered in ancient pictographs that told the story of an extinct civilization, one that had harnessed energy in ways beyond their current understanding. Drawing on their combined knowledge, they hypothesized that the cave's unique mineral properties could potentially amplify a signal strong enough to breach the planet's interference. With this newfound hope, they meticulously planned and executed the reparation, rearranging components from the wreckage into a makeshift transmitter. Each adjustment was critical, each recalibration a step closer to their salvation. Just as hope began to rise, their nascent sanctuary was shattered by an unexpected arrival. Intergalactic pirates, a ruthless band with technology far surpassing that of the stricken Tremor 7, descended upon them with predatory intent. Their leader, a fearsome cyborg named Kale, stood as a harbinger of destruction, his cold, robotic eye analyzing every possible avenue of exploitation. Outnumbered and outgunned, Daniel and Zara's survival instincts kicked in. They retreated into the heart of the jungle, employing guerrilla tactics to outwit the pirates. Daniel leveraged his engineering prowess to devise traps from the flora and ship fragments, while Zara used her intimate alliance with nature to anticipate and ambush the pirates. Their efforts were a desperate dance of life and death, the tropical rainforest transforming into a battlefield that echoed with the mechanical roar of blasters and the primal cries of the jungle's inhabitants. The pirates, relentless in their pursuit, began employing drones and scanning devices to locate the fugitives. Each skirmish brought with it casualties and hardship, but Daniel and Zara's resilience was unyielding. Their mutual bond, formed through hardship and struggle, deepened as they fought side by side. Every shared glance and wordless plan fortified their connection and amplified their determination to survive. One evening, as the dual moons cast stark shadows across their hidden camp, Zara was caught in a crossfire. A plasma blast from one of Kale's lieutenants seared through the air and struck her shoulder. The pain was excruciating and the injury severe. Daniel, driven by a loyalty that surpassed any logical reasoning, sprang into action. He crafted a medical rig using components salvaged from the ship's medbay and indigenous herbs identified by Zara, expertly setting up a field surgery station. The emotional weight of the moment bore heavily on them both. Zara's agony was palpable, her normally inscrutable face contorted in pain. Daniel's hands trembled slightly as he worked, but his years of experience as an engineer provided a focus and precision that belied his inner turmoil. As he treated Zara, Daniel found himself reflecting on the fragility of life and the value of every moment they had shared. With Zara temporarily stabilized but in no condition to continue their cat-and-mouse warfare, Daniel found himself taking on a more fiercely protective role. He concealed their tracks, dismantled any evidence of their temporary hideouts, and concocted a plan to turn the tables on their pursuers. He knew that a direct confrontation was suicidal, yet the guerrilla warfare had taken its toll on the pirates as well. Fatigue and frustration began to wear at Kale's unit, creating openings that Daniel and Zara could exploit. The days that followed were a testament to their tenacity and cunning. They lured the pirates into natural traps, quicksand pits, carnivorous plant nests, and a particularly devastating landslide triggered by Daniel's precise charges. Each success fueled their determination, each small victory a reminder that they were not alone in this hostile world. As Kale's forces dwindled, a renewed glimmer of hope emerged. One critical night, their makeshift transmitter finally aligned with the cave's unique resonance. A brief but functional distress signal was sent out, piercing through the atmospheric interference like a beacon in the darkness. Several tense days passed with no response, their hopes teetering on the brink of despair, when an answer finally came. A fleet from Eridan, alerted to their plight, descended through the planet's atmosphere. The arrival of the Eridonian soldiers was both surreal and electrifying. They moved with an efficiency and precision that bespoke years of rigorous training and discipline. Their technological prowess was evident in every aspect of their arrival, from the silent descent of their vessels to the strategic organization of their forces. The final confrontation was swift and decisive. The Eridonian soldiers, led by Commander Ryloth, coordinated their assault with unerring accuracy. They swept through the jungle like a storm, cutting down the pirates with practiced ease. Daniel and Zara, though weary and wounded, joined in the fray, their knowledge of the terrain and enemy tactics proving invaluable. The alien jungle of the unknown planet created a kaleidoscope of bioluminescent plants and menacing beasts, each more foreign and dangerous than the last. The air buzzed with the hum of invisible predatory creatures. The thick canopy of intertwining trees provided a sinister yet oddly beautiful shelter to Daniel and Zara, contrasted starkly by the looming peril of intergalactic pirates whose shadows crept ever closer. Daniel, with his utilitarian garment smeared with sweat and debris, fumbled through the remnants of their crash, devising shields and defenses from the unyielding jungle materials. Bits of metal from the wreck, thick vines, and sharp stones became his raw materials. Being adept at improvisation, his hands moved with a mechanical instinct, fingers blistered but relentless. Zara, with her striking emerald skin now marred by cuts and bruises, amongst which a particularly nasty injury festered, continued to strategize guerrilla warfare tactics. Her knowledge of flora allowed them to use the lush wilderness to conceal traps fashioned from the planet's own barbed plants and acidic, oozing moss. The venomous creatures of the planet became both a threat and an asset, as their venoms were harvested to booby-trap areas surrounding their camp. Night fell again, revealing two pale moons casting an eerie light across the terrain. Within the shadows, the pirates crept closer, their predatory nature evident in the calculated silence of their moves. The pirates, clad in patched-up pressure suits and armed with a variety of outdated yet deadly weapons, were relentless, scouring the jungle floor for the duo like wolves in a bloodthirsty hunt. Amid the tall, twisted trees, the conflict erupted violently. The sounds of energy weapons slicing through foliage was matched by the answering deadly snap of trap mechanisms set by Zara. Daniel swung an improvised blade with precision, each strike driven by a primal survival instinct. The jungle reverberated with the clash of metal and the screams of both the wounded and the enraged. A pirate lunged towards Zara, but she deftly sidestepped, her agility belying her injuries. She drew a plasma blade with a swift motion. It glowed a spectral blue as it hummed through the air, marking her foe with an indelible stroke, reducing him to a pile of vapor and liquid. In the heart of the battle, Daniel's gritted teeth and determined stance protected Zara as much as he could. Yet, fate struck deeply as Zara was blindsided by an ionized bullet, ripping through her flesh. The searing pain shot through her body, causing a scream that echoed through the wilderness. Blood stained the forest floor as she collapsed, sending Daniel into a frenzy of protective rage. Each pirate he felled felt like a minuscule retribution for the wound inflicted upon his friend. He fought tirelessly, his breath jagged, his focus unwavering despite the rapidly mounting fatigue. Every pirate's battle cry was met with a calculated strike. Every confrontation pushed him further into a desperate bid for survival. His engineering mind turned to survivalist instincts, crafting new methods of combat with every item at his disposal, turning portions of the ship wreckage into makeshift armor or explosive traps. The culmination of their night-long struggle was abruptly illuminated by a beacon of hope. The temporary functionality of their communication system had flickered out a distress signal, a faint whisper in the cosmic void, one last resource deployed in their darkest hour. The signal had been heard. From the heavens descended the vigilant troops of Eridan, their arrival swift and decisive. These soldiers, draped in smooth armor that seemed to blend with the jungle surroundings, brought the ferocity of a seasoned force. Their technology was more advanced, glowing with a soft hum of power, radiating through their uniform exosuits. The pirates, despite their initial bravado, were no match for the well-equipped and organized Eridan force. The skirmish that ensued was chaotic but brief. Eridan's soldiers acted with precision, their weapons emitting a whisper-like silence, only the soft hum and the sudden fall of a pirate marking each shot. The energy emitted from their weapons incapacitated rather than killed, creating an eerie stillness post-battle as the pirates lay silently in defeat, each stunned into submission. As dawn finally bled the darkness away, the battlefield was littered with bodies, both of those who had fought to protect and of those who sought only to plunder. The silence that replaced the cacophony of battle was almost deafening. Daniel's breaths were quick, his muscles tense from the long fight. He crawled to Zara's side, where her emerald skin contrasted with the cruelty of her wound. The Eridan soldiers, led by a stoic captain with an air of authority, moved quickly to administer advanced med tech to stabilize her. Their methods, a blend of biotechnology and medical advances, began sealing her wound while reinvigorating cells. The ordeal had left them both physically and emotionally drained, yet a transient relief washed over them. The battle was over, for now. The Eridan approach towards both enemies and allies revealed a sense of deep cultural ethics, a contrast from human methods Daniel was familiar with. Their harsh need to incapacitate, not annihilate, highlighted a fundamental difference in philosophy, the value of life, even that of a foe. This silent lesson etched itself into Daniel's mind as he observed the aftermath with tired eyes. Their exhausted bodies were carried aboard the elegant hovercrafts of the Eridan soldiers, the terrain blurring beneath them as they made their way back to the ship. The injured were attended to with a sense of efficiency and empathy characteristic of the Eridan way. As they traveled, the landscape beneath them transitioned from the wild, untamed jungle into the serene yet technologically advanced cities of Eridan. The planet's advanced infrastructure emerged, revealing a civilization that had mastered the harmonious balance of nature with cutting-edge technology. The towers, sleek and shimmering, contrasted with the green expanse around them, as if standing testament to progression coexisting with tradition. They descended into an underground medical facility, its walls alive with biolinks that adaptively adjusted both temperature and humidity for optimal healing environments. Daniel, nearly collapsing from exhaustion, was still fixated on Zara's condition. The med tech applied by their rescuers seemed miraculous to him, the wounds that appeared life-threatening slowly knitting themselves together under synthesized organic materials. Emotionally, Daniel grappled with the immediate crisis having subsided, leaving a yawning chasm of uncertainty about their future. He realized the ethical implication of their experiences so far. The very nature of survival intertwined with loss and resilience was reshaping his understanding of camaraderie and loyalty. In the serene silence of the med bay, the aftermath of their battle lingered. Yet the unspoken realization settled in both of them: the jungle, the battle, the pain. All were stages in a larger story, their camaraderie fortified by shared trauma, their resolve unsullied. This connection was an unintentional consequence that none could have anticipated but profoundly altered the fabric of their relationship. The arduous journey back to Eridan was both a relief and an enigma, a passage from one nightmare into an unfamiliar reality shimmering with possibilities. Daniel and Zara, though battered and bruised, could feel a renewed sense of purpose fueling their every step, driven by the collective breath of hope. Aboard the Eridonian rescue vessel, the quiet hum of its advanced propulsion system was a stark contrast to the chaotic crackles and groans of the rural jungle. Yet, in that silence, lay the echoes of their formidable fight against the pirates, a testament to their resilience, a prelude to the unknown challenges that awaited them on Zara's homeworld. Eridan unfolded before them like a celestial tapestry, a planet of contrasts and harmonies. As they approached, Daniel marveled at the breathtaking syncretism of advanced technology and untouched wildscapes. From space, the world was a mosaic of luminous city-states and vast wilderness, a place bound by its rich history and propelled by futuristic ingenuity. The sky shimmered with bioluminescent hues, dancing across continents like liquid emerald waves. As the rescue ship descended toward Eridan's capital, Arendor, a metamorphosed city brimming with towering structures of iridescent glass and latticeworks of metallic flora, the sight was both overwhelming and magnificent. The towering arcologies glowed in ruby and sapphire, etched with the history of countless cycles of prosperity, conflict, and rejuvenation. Meeting them amidst the lush landing bay, verdantly festooned despite its advanced structures, was Counselor Thalos, Zara's father. Thalos's presence was imposing, his expression a mixture of steely resolve and deeply buried paternal concern. His well-defined cheekbones and emerald skin, much like Zara's, conveyed the aristocratic heritage of the Eridonian lineage. His eyes, however, told tales of ancient wisdom and resounding skepticism. Thalos regarded Daniel with the cold, assessing eyes of a protector unaccustomed to trusting outsiders. To him, Daniel was an unknown derivative of the alien equation that had brought his daughter perilously close to death's embrace. Yet, permeating his protective veneer was a glimmer of gratitude, one that he was perhaps too proud, or too cautious, to fully acknowledge. As Daniel and Zara exited the spacecraft, accompanied by the contingent of soldiers, Thalos stepped forward, his gait measured, his demeanor imposing. The greeting was formal, edged with traces of warmth directed toward Zara. In Eridonian cultural tradition, the moment marked a ceremonial re-entry, where the survivor recounts their tribulation, and the elders weigh their merits. The ceremonial hall within the heart of Arendor was grand, lined with innumerable records of Eridan's mighty heritage. The walls themselves seemed to whisper tales of valiant conquests and profound sacrifices. Amidst the splendor of this sanctum, Daniel felt a mixture of awe and intimidation. He could feel the weight of history cascading around him, demanding respect while simultaneously offering subtle invitations to join its narrative. Zara recounted their ordeal with palpable gravity, her tone steeled by the echoes of their perils and victories. Each word painted vivid scenes of survival, bonding, and bittersweet triumph. Daniel watched as her story unfolded, feeling as if he were but a humble footnote in the epic she elegantly wove. During her recount, Daniel noted the silent rigidness of the assembled quorum, the stoic guardians of Eridonian culture. Their expressions remained inscrutable, their thoughts encrypted within the depths of their alien gazes. As Zara's tale waned, a surge of profound silence engulfed the hall. It was a silence laden with expectation, scrutinization, and unspoken conclusions. Finally, Thalos spoke, his voice a resonant tide of authority. While praises for Zara's valor rippled through his words, his gaze fixed upon Daniel carried an unspoken inquiry, a veiled challenge to prove this human worthy of their acknowledgement and trust. Navigating through the cultural labyrinth that was Eridonian society proved to be an educational odyssey for Daniel. From elaborate etiquette in daily interactions to the sacred rituals bound by the threads of ancestral worship, Daniel immersed himself in the nuances of their civilization. The settlements of Eridon thrived on a delicate balance of natural harmony and technological sophistication. Bioluminescent orchards stood beside cybernetic domes, each element complementing the other in an intricate dance of existence. In the stone courtyards and holographic libraries, Daniel pored over ancient texts and futuristic schematics. It was there that he sought to assimilate the essence of Eridon. Zara became his guide, her explanations a blend of historical anecdotes and pragmatic insights. Side by side, they navigated through the intricate tapestries of Eridonian customs and heritage. Slowly, what had initially felt like an enigma became a vivid revelation of unity between progress and tradition. Daniel's persistent curiosity and earnest efforts did not go unnoticed. The Eridonian Council began to view him not just as an outsider, but as an ally willing to embrace and respect their deeply rooted values. The ancient scholars, revered for their generational knowledge, found in Daniel a diligent student, one eager to learn and contribute. His engineering know-how merged with Eridonian technology, catalyzing innovations that bridged humans and Eridonians in symbiotic endeavors. Yet, in the quiet corridors of this newfound peace, the shadows of doubt and cultural disparity lurked. There were factions within Eridon that questioned the integration, whispering of the unseen consequences of such alliances. These undercurrents simmered beneath the surface, their grievances unvoiced but undeniably present. Daniel was acutely aware of these silent ripples, feeling their weight in cautious glances and half-spoken words. One day, while strolling through the serene verdancy of the Nexus Garden, a confluence of nature and tech featuring flora that resonated with harmonic frequencies, Daniel observed the depth of the Eridonian societal intricacies. Nearby, a cohort of Eridonian youths engaged in a ritualistic game, a spectacle of agility and strategy, showcasing the duality of their existence. Watching, Daniel felt an affinity, a longing for belonging that transcended species and origins. In these moments of introspection, Daniel often pondered the ethical landscapes they traversed. The intergalactic odyssey had transformed his perception of unity, cooperation, and the essence of survival. The realization that every action, every decision held ramifications wider than envisaged was both humbling and profound. For Zara, the journey had rekindled a sense of identity deeply rooted in her cultural tapestry, reconnecting her to the spiritual and historical veins of her lineage. The ethical conundrum facing Eridon now extended beyond simple acceptance of new alliances. It permeated the foundational values of their existence, the sanctity of tradition versus the necessity of progress. Their history, enshrined in monuments and memories, was at a crossroads with an unforeseen future that required resilience, adaptation, and perhaps, sacrifices of the very values they cherished. As days rolled into weeks, the dynamic between Daniel and Zara evolved. Life on Eridan was awe-inspiring for Daniel. The planet, with its verdant landscapes interlaced with gleaming, advanced architecture, was juxtaposed harmoniously with ancient traditions and rituals. You could see the floating cities that were almost organic in their designs, structures that seemed to grow like crystal formations amid lush forests that stretched endlessly under a radiant sky. The air was filled with the scent of exotic flowers and the hum of unseen energy sources. This was a world where technology and nature coexisted effortlessly. Daniel was immediately, almost ceremonially, introduced to the ways of Eridan, a society built on respect and reverence for both ancestors and future generations. Zara reconnected with her roots, taking Daniel under her wing. They were welcomed into the heart of Eridan culture, beginning with the ritual of acceptance, an ancient tradition that symbolized trust and unity. In the grand hall of Eridan's central city, the pair stood before the High Council. The hall itself was an architectural marvel, cavernous with high-vaulted ceilings embedded with luminescent crystals. At its center was a great symbol representing unity between all beings of the universe. The council members, draped in flowing robes adorned with intricate patterns that denoted their statuses and regions, examined Daniel with curiosity. The council was led by Zara's influential father, Councillor Thalos, whose initial skepticism mirrored that of his people. Councillor Thalos stepped forward, his gaze piercing but fair. He spoke in a tongue that Daniel was gradually learning, a language rich with nuance and layered with meaning. Daniel, in our history, few outsiders have walked among us. Yet, you have proven yourself through acts of bravery and solidarity. You have saved one of our own and stood against our enemies. For this, you deserve our respect. The ceremony concluded with a symbolic gesture. A drop of sacred nectar from the life tree was placed on Daniel's forehead, signifying his acceptance into Eridonian society. As the gathered crowd murmured their approval, Daniel felt an overwhelming sense of belonging. Days turned into weeks, and Daniel immersed himself in Eridan's way of life. He found himself marveling at their technological accomplishments, devices that healed wounds using nanotechnology, energy sources derived from natural phenomena, and transport systems that defied the laws of gravity. Yet, what fascinated him the most was their deep-rooted connection to nature and the spiritual world. Daniel participated in rituals that celebrated the cycles of life, attended forums where wisdom was shared through stories and songs, and learned to appreciate the subtle nuances of a society that valued balance above all. Zara, now fully healed and reinvigorated, took on the mantle of a cultural guide and strategic analyst within the council. She often sat with Daniel under the shade of Eridan's ancient trees, explaining the philosophy and history of her people. These moments were filled with quiet reverence, the sounds of nature harmonizing with their discussions. One evening, as the two sat on a crystalline ledge overlooking the floating city of Viridium, Zara turned to Daniel. Our paths were intertwined by fate and struggle, but our bond was forged by trust and understanding. You belong here, Daniel. You have shown us what it means to bridge worlds. Daniel stared at the horizon, where twin suns dipped below the tree line, casting hues of purple and gold across the sky. Perhaps it was always meant to be this way, he mused. Two worlds, once so far apart, now finding common ground. There is much we can learn from each other. Their friendship had only deepened since their ordeal on the hostile planet. Every shared meal, every story exchanged, and every silent understanding between them reinforced their unity. The people of Eridan, once cautious and wary, now regarded Daniel with admiration and warmth. They saw in him not an outsider, but a symbol of possibility, a testament to what could be achieved when differences were set aside in favor of mutual respect. As time passed, Daniel's role within Eridan society expanded. He used his engineering skills to help advance their already impressive technology. He collaborated with Eridan scientists to develop new energy systems and medical technologies, marrying human ingenuity with Eridan's advanced understanding of the universe. One of their greatest projects was the creation of the Unity Beacon, an enormous structure designed to send out a message of peace and collaboration to other civilizations across the cosmos. Zara and Daniel stood side by side as the beacon powered up, sending its message through the stars. It was a signal of hope, a testament to what could be achieved through unity. But amidst their newfound peace, there was always an undercurrent of mystery, a feeling that their adventure was far from over. The vastness of the galaxy beckoned to them, whispering of hidden secrets and undiscovered worlds. In the quiet moments, when Daniel pondered the path his life had taken, he realized the profound truth of their journey. Through courage, trust, and partnership, even the most insurmountable odds could be conquered. They had shown that unity between different worlds was not only possible but essential. Their tale was just the beginning, a testament to the power of collaboration and resilience. As they gazed up at the night sky, dotted with the glimmers of distant stars and unexplored galaxies, both Daniel and Zara knew that their adventure was far from over. The universe held infinite possibilities, new alliances, new challenges, and unknown wonders. And, united as they were, they felt ready to face whatever came next. And thus, their story stood as a beacon of hope, resonating with the promise that the proud spirit of unity and belonging could transform and connect even the furthest corners of the galaxy. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.